and then respected VK sir, father, and then our guest lecturers, and Kiran Anna, PhD scholar, uh, my classmates, and all the juniors. Good morning to each and every one of you. So, I'm Kamei from MA Philosophy final year. So, today I'll be presenting my seminar on the topic impact of will to live, the determinant of survival. So, to start it, uh, first we'll see what is will to live. So, these days, Bharat, his jokes is improving a lot. And then this Nancy's meme also improving a lot. And then last week, Bharat, what's in there, cut jokes to me. And then he said, like typical Bharat did accent, like Santa Mem. Bro, why you're choosing Schopenhauer? And then he said, he continued, are you going to commit suicide? So we all know that Schopenhauer, he's a very dark philosopher. He's a very, what to say, passive philosopher. His philosophy will be very much of the negative side of things, very passive. That kind of stuff we used to assume, like we used to what to say, uh, see when we talk about Schopenhauer. So, but the good thing about him is that he deals about facts, whether you like it or not. He deals about facts, and then he's just being intellectually honest. That's the thing. So, and then this Christian also he asked my presentation title, and then he said, "Yes, brother Schopenhauer." He said, "Nice what he said here. Schopenhauer doesn't sugarcoat things like any other philosopher." He said. So there's a good compliment you can say. He don't sugarcoat. He don't sugarcoat. So like we used to hear like hurt me with the truth, but don't comfort me with a lie. So you can say that comes from Schopenhauer. And then so whether we like it or not, we should know the reality first. It may be good or bad, whether we may like it or not, but we should know the reality first. And from there, from that reality only, we can come to a real conclusion without delusion. So if we start from delusion, then that solution will not be a good solution. So because to solve the problem, it should be based from reality and not delusion. And then in these days, we have this kind of terms like euphemism and all like sugarcoating words. Like for example, for what's latrine, and we say toilet. And from toilet it comes to bathroom. Where do you go? Where are you going? I was going to bathroom or something like that. From bathroom to washroom. From washroom to again now restroom. And after this sugarcoating, I think after some time we will say common room. And people will be confused. Where are you going to? I'm going to common room. Then, what to say? All this reality will be lost at last. So and then another sugarcoating thing regarding about this sugarcoating words is like that at first when I heard this word, it was very much pleasing to me. It's a very nice word, like this differently able person. They used to say like instead of handicapped person or instead of what physically disabled people, we used to say differently able people. So when I first saw it, it's a very nice term. It's very nice. So those handicapped people, their terms are like differently able people. And I was like that, and then after some time, this I think differently able. Those people, those disabled people, they are very strong. Okay, they're very strong, and they are not like us. They have some kind of extra zeal or kind of enthusiasm. So some they don't like that terms. Those real guy. He said, just call us what disabled people. Not much about handicap is too much again, but disabled people. Don't sugarcoat us. It's like patronizing to call us as a differently able people or differently able person. So just call us disabled person. So now we used to see here like PWD or kind of stuff. So person with disabled kind of stuff. Before sometimes like it was like people was suggesting about this differently able person or like that kind of thing. So sometimes we sugarcoat too much, and then this gay and all that gay they will dress like girls and then what, and then they will sound like girls also. They sound like girls. Really, you'll not know. So there's one joke. So they'll not speak in original voice and then they'll speak in girls' voice. Some used to even sing also, sing very nicely. You know, saying I saw that one in a video that in a restaurant. So one gay guy, he was calling a server named what is it, Roberto, and he was calling him again in a girl's voice, you know, Roberto, Roberto, very soft and like that. The server, he didn't hear it because he didn't notice it. And then after some time, that gay guy with that female dress and all, he got angry. And then afterward, he with his original male voice, deep male voice, he said, Roberto. And the server here, what is it? And then the server came in there, everyone was staying around. What is this? So that kind of something in electrical, in what's it? In electronic terms, we call that factory reset. Coming back to the reality. So those are all those sugarcoating things. So by sugarcoating too much, we may lose touch with the reality and create problem. So Schopenhauer, though may seem passive, he tells the deep reality of our existence. So I'm always one-sided. Sometimes when I prepare for seminar, you know, I will just focus on one side kind of things. So this time I was thinking like I'll focus only on the impact of will to live. I'll never care about everything. I was like one-sided and straight, rigid kind of stuff. But Mubasi sir, our guide, he gave me a lot of good suggestions, and then I'm a little bit softer also, and then he gives us a lot of good suggestions. So you have to deal with where it comes from, you know, some kind of stuff. This philosopher talk about this and all. So I did later on this kind of this origin and that what is the background kind of stuff, and I researched it again, and that it was very interesting also, knowing from the background coming from there to from where it comes and all. So when we talk about will to live, we are talking about Schopenhauer, but at the background, he's connecting with what is he? Connecting with Kant's view. Kant's like transcendental idealism. From there it comes, and then it is like an update from the Kant's view of transcendental idealism. In Kant's view, he talks about two things: noumena and phenomena. So noumena talks about things in themselves, and then phenomena talks about the appearance. So things as they appear to us through our senses and mind, that's the phenomena. So here I will explain a little bit. So in Kant's view, we cannot know what is things in themselves. So things in themselves is out of our apprehension or out of our perception. So that's why Kant says there are 12 categories. We can say doesn't. There are 12 categories like causality and kind of stuff. Through that categories only we can perceive our empirical world. So it's like a microscope. So through that lens of the microscope only we can see those tiny things. So without a microscope we cannot see it. So Kant's categories is like that. It's like microscope, or you can also say software. Software is better example, I think. So through that only we can see it. So without that lens, we cannot see it. Everything will be chaotic. That is what that is what Kant said. So it's like a software. In this software, all these computers and all these electronic gadgets and all, it is run by what is it? Ones and zeros only. The fundamental unit of this digital system is ones and zeros. They call it bits. So all these things, you know, inside the system, they're coded like just ones and zeros. So with that software, like for example, I'll say that bits, they have 8 sets of bits that they call it bytes. It's simple. It's a simple thing. From that byte, from that 8 bits of combination, there will be byte like 10001 or like something like that. So A will be like 0001 or something like that. B will be like 1001. C will be like 0101 kind of stuff. So this kind of stuff, there will be 8 bit, they call it bytes. So we call it 1 kilobyte. So 1 kilobyte means that 1 byte into 1000. So there comes that memory. So all those things, byte, when you talk about byte, it's about the bits, it's ones and zeros, it's inside the system. So those bytes, they compile it together, and then with that software, it is converted into this kind of graphic interface. So without that software, we cannot see, we cannot read, we cannot comprehend. So that software is like the categories of Kant. So without that software, you will see this system, all the systems like ones and zeros. So ones and zero will not understand, it will be chaotic. So, and it won't make sense. So there will ones and zeros will be like things in themselves. And then this phenomena that will, with this software, with that category, it will be like our empirical world. It will modify it. It will manipulate it so that we can see in a simple way. That's the thing about Kant's theory. So from there, Schopenhauer considered himself as Kant's only true successor, but he believed he had solved the greatest mystery in Kant's work, the nature of things in itself. So here, I'm dealing from the book The World as Will and Representation. Yeah, the world as will and representation. So for Schopenhauer, this will is a fundamental driving force of everything in the universe. So will is like the things in themselves for Schopenhauer. So these things in themselves is for Noumena, is for Kant, and for Schopenhauer is the will. And for representation from Schopenhauer is like phenomena of this Kant. So will, Noumena, representation, phenomena. So Kant and Schopenhauer is putting up like this. So and he critiqued about Kant's things in themselves, because Kant said things in themselves we cannot know it. So what Schopenhauer said is that it's wrong. We can know things in themselves, because things in themselves is not just the external world outside of us. Things in themselves mean we ourselves are things in themselves. Our matter, our body, this itself is a things in themselves. So when we look deep down inside us, fundamentally we'll see this will. So he said this will to live, or will to exist, that is itself the things in themselves. So we can know things in themselves. That's what Schopenhauer, he thought he break the code of this things in them. We cannot know things in themselves everywhere in philosophy. So he said things in themselves we can know when we look down inside us. There's the will, the fundamental driving force for everything. So we are also the same matter like any other else out there. We are also things in themselves, indeed. And that fundamental reality or thing in itself is the will to live itself. The fundamental driving force of everything in the universe is nothing but the metaphysical will. So next is derivation. Not really. Derivation is things. Derivation and its origin form. What really is it? So now here will come. Now from Kant's background, there is a Kant's background. So from Kant's now we'll discuss about this will to live. So in order to know the impact of will to live, we have to know what is will to live first. Then only we can discuss about impact. So what is will to live? What really is it? So here it says will to live. It is an innate, irrational, and blind impulse driving all living things to persist, reproduce, and strive endlessly. So this will exist in everything, including non-living things. So uh, it is not just about living things only. It comes from things in themselves also, or in anything. So here it even applies to the non-living things also. So it's the fundamental reality of everything. Everything is non-living thing, everything. So we used to hear about this in science was also related with Newton's laws of motion. We used to study during our high school days, kids days, Newton's first law of motion, laws of inertia about the property of a matter. So here it says that an object, any object that is in a rest position will be in that position. They would like to be in that position until and unless some external force act on it. Or when the object is in motion, it will stay in a motion all the time. If some extra force is not exerted on it, like in the space, when you throw the marble on space, it will move on continuously without gravity. So until unless some external force block it, it will just continue. That is the will to exist in that state. So everything don't want to vanish or don't want to disappear. So they have this kind of will to exist for everything, for everything. Even we don't want to say change our character. Like, well, we always want to be in our same character. We don't want to change. Those are all the effect of this will to live. This will that is fundamental inside us. That's controlling us, not by us. That's the reason why. So, so it applies not just in the non-physical things, like non-physical things. We should say like will to exist. I don't want to go on that side, on that will to exist. I want to go in the human side. That is will to live. Here, I want to focus more on here and talk about there also. So there's a Newton kind of thing just to highlighting. So it applies everything. That's why he said it's the fundamental driving force. It's a fundamental reality. He's saying he's claiming metaphysically. So it's a things in themselves. So he said the will is a strong man. The will is a strong blind man. He's a very strong but blind. Who carries on his shoulder the lamb on his shoulder. There's a lamb like who can walk, who can see, but he can't walk, but he can only see. That's the reason, our intellect. We can see, we can reason. That's the intellect, but we don't have leg, so we cannot do anything. Even though we see, even though we know, we cannot do anything because we are driven by this strong blind man because he has the leg. So he's pulling this lame guy who sees it but cannot do anything. So this is the example he said here. The will is a strong man that is carrying the lame man. So even though we say we are rational being or some Schopenhauer, he just reject it. And then I also believe sometimes human being is highly irrational. We thought human being is a rational being, but actually we are highly irrational because also we know some things are good but we don't do it. It's happening everywhere. We know war is not good, but there's war. If we are rational, then there is war. So we are highly irrational. We don't do things which we should, and there's war. And then if we are rational, then there will be war, but peace and happiness. So I do believe that human beings are highly irrational. We used to say it's a rational being, but underneath it, we are highly irrational. That's the reality. So Schopenhauer's arguing that humans are primarily irrational creatures. He suggests the will is in charge. Even though the intellect, the lame man, thinks it is directing the journey because it can see the path, it is actually being carried by the will. We often use our reason simply to justify. We often use our reason simply to justify or find a path toward what our blind desires already want. So a necessary partnership. Here, for a human to function, these two must work together. Without the will, the intellect would sit still and do nothing. Without the intellect, the will would crash into the walls and destroy this kind of stuff and all. Yeah, he says similar to bit here, but Schopenhauer's view is somewhat cynical but deeply insightful. He suggests that our quote unquote reasons are often excuses. Impacts. Oh, okay. I'll go faster. I'll go faster. Then I'll explain it. So, we think we made a logical choice, but often our blind will decide what it wanted, and our intellect just found a way to get there. So, like David Hume also said like that. I forgot the quote again. Like it's like a reason. Reason is an alchemy to serve the passion. Or reason is like the slave of passion. So though we tell we are a snail being or some kind of thing, but it's not. It's actually no. Reason is controlled by our passion only. The will is tireless because the blind man is strong. Our desires keep pushing us forward even when we are exhausted or when logic tells us to stop. Our desire just push it. So the impact of will. Now here comes the impact of will to live. Now here will come and then I used to get nervous all the time, so sometimes I put in my slide, calm down here, big so I can remind myself. So to do justice for Schopenhauer, we'll start with passive impact, with negative impact, because he's a passive philosopher. And then the impact of the negative impact of this will to live is the source of suffering. So he says the source of suffering is insatiable. Insatiable means unsatisfiable, insatiable desire that never ends, like hunger, thirst, etc. Satisfied again, but afterward we got hungry again. We thirst, we quench it, but later on we thirst again. So it keeps on rotating. So it keeps on continuing. Like in Buddha, also we used to say like this will, the desire. Desire is the root of all suffering and all this kind of stuff is connected again. And then so he says that we are like we're like born with negative bank balance, and every day we have to work to get back to zero. That's where we die. So we are born with like a negative bank balance. So every time we work, every time we earn, we don't even reach the zero. We're just cutting down the minus that one, and when we reach the zero, and then only we die again. So it's no use. So he talks a lot about many desires, and he even said that it's better we're not born than to live, like kind of stuff. He even comes to that kind of point, that what to say, very much controversial point. He talks a lot about many desires, but I want, yeah. So he talks a lot about desires and all, but I want to focus more on this will to live, not about understanding the hunger, thirst, or sexual desire and everything. Those I think those are all connected ultimately to will to live. Because we thirst, we hunger, and all these things, because it's ultimately collected, just so that we live, we survive, or we procreate, we reproduce, and we continue our generation. So, for negative things, another thing is we can add here also hatred. So, while I analyze here, while I engage, and then I thought we can add this hatred and all this emotion stuff also. We hate people because we have opposing view, and opposing view is nothing but a threat at the background of our mind. So we hate people, we hate them because there's a thing. Threat means which are related with that which can kill us. So we hate people. Those kind of hatred stuff, all related to jealousy and all this. Why in jealousy? Why are we jealous of others? Because that person is somehow better than us. Yeah, like that. So there's one good example in the Bible, like in Bible, God used to say, "I'm a jealous God." So the creator of the universe comes down to our level. I'll just see here. Creator of the universe come down to our level and said to us, "I'm a jealous God. If you go astray and worship other evil gods, I will destroy you." He cares more about us, and we become better than him. He cares more about us and become better.
It's 35 minutes.
5 minutes.
Wind up.
Okay, okay. Okay,
Just
okay.
take the argument.
Yeah, it's going to finish. Okay, okay. I'll go faster now. Okay, I'll skip some of the things. So I'll skip this part, and then Okay, so here, and the last one. And here jealousy stuff and discrete mentality and all this we try to drag down this around so no one can go out of the place. So in developed countries and all, they don't like this kind of crap mentality. Okay, and then the last good example is the caste system. So why there is caste system? Because the Brahmins wants to preserve their privilege. Why preserving the privilege? Because they will be at the top of the food chain, so others will die first. At the background, we don't know it as the background is running like this. So that's the underlying concept that's functioning at the background of our subconscious mind and brain. It's a very simple common sense. So the root of caste system is the survival. It's that underlying irrational will to live. We don't know why we want to live. It is just there. It is just what it is. And that's the sole reason for the bad things happening here. So all this caste system and everything and all these bad things, it's just because when we look deep down, it's just connected with the will to live because we want to survive. At the end, we don't want to die. And then positive impacts. Here he talks about self-knowledge because you are a manifestation of the will. Looking inward allows you to understand the true nature of the entire universe. Self-knowledge is the positive impact, and then unity of being, another second point. So recognizing that the same will inside resides in all things can lead to a profound sense of connection with nature and other living beings. Moving beyond the beyond the principle of individuality. So the positive thing about will to live is that we collaborate each other because we want to live. Sometimes we also collaborate with each other. We don't hate, we don't jealous. There's a negative side of will to live. So because we want to live, we also cooperate each other. Because we want to live at the we don't know we don't know we're reasoning, but at the background, because of that force, we are collaborating with each other. So the positive thing of will to live is that we collaborate each other in order to survive. From there comes bonding, socialization, and community. But the underlying irrational reason for it at the core is the will to live. It's not just about negative and positive. Both they have this both effect of will to live. That's what I'm discussing. At the inner background of our subconscious mind, there are lots of things that lot of things like that. But those are the few positive impacts of will to live. Okay, so positive and the solution and contrasting, yeah. Solution and contrasting view. Here, Schopenhauer talks about three solution. Three solution. So here, aesthetic contemplation. So to solve this problem, he talk about aesthetic contemplation. When we lose ourselves in art or music, we stop looking at objects as things to be used or desired. For a moment, we become a pure, will-less subject of knowledge. And second point, he said, compassion. By recognizing that the same will suffers in everyone, we break down the ego and feel the pain of others as our own. And third, asceticism. I think we all know the denial of the will. By intentionally suppressing desires like fasting, celibacy, poverty, one can eventually quiet the will and reach a state of peaceful indifference, similar to the Buddhist concept of nirvana. So here Nietzsche come in, he comes up with some contrasting views. So I'll come up with just quick talk, quick browsing. So for Schopenhauer's view, nature, the nature of the will is blind, aimless, and suffering induced. So Nietzsche is said it is a creative, self-overcoming, and life-affirming. And the goal of Schopenhauer is to be denied or escape from the will. And then for Nietzsche, he said it is to be embraced and channeled, because from bad things we can come up with good things. Yeah. So, and then a view of life. So for Schopenhauer, life is an error. Life is an error or a debt to be paid. So we don't have any benefit. We are come up with minus. We already lose. And then life, and then Nietzsche, he said life is a tragedy to be celebrated. And then synthesis. This will be the last thing I think. This will be the last. So yeah, I will go fast and a necessary partnership. So let's combine something together and just for a human to function, these two must work together. Like Schopenhauer's little bit said like will and then reason should work together. Without the will, the intellect would still sit and do nothing. Without the intellect, the will would crash into walls and destroy itself. The positive thing about will to live is that, yeah, we collaborate. Okay, I'll skip this one. So everything happening in this world is only because of this will to live. All the good things as well as the bad things happening around is because of this will to live. Ultimately, at its core, and we don't even know it. We are an automatic machine, and so everything shall skip it, and then and this there come pride. Even this pride, we want to be proud, jealousy. I explained it because we want to be better than others. We want to be better than others. We want to be higher than others. That's the intention of pride. Uh, we don't want to be proud. Right? It just come up automatically. We are not. We're not like I want to be proud. I want to be proud. Not like that. It just come up automatically. So why is it coming out automatically? Because of the will to live. Because we want to be above others. So others die first. So I'll die later. Sometimes that will to live. There is the irrational things happening inside our subconscious mind. So this pride, jealousy, and all these bad things, and even good things also same thing. Because of the irrational will and war and stuff. This because of foolish pride, this war can occur. So pride, war, and everything. And then, so ultimately, what we have to focus is, so ultimately, what we have to focus is that we have to push only on the positive impact side of will to live, not on the negative impact side of it. So although we have this negative side, we have to dismiss those negative side, and we have to push on the positive side of things. And what we have to realize is that it's very much possible to live. So it's very much possible to live without bad things. We will not die. So it's very much possible to live without harming others. We won't die, even if we don't do bad things. It's very much possible to live with just good things in life. It won't harm us. So we have to focus more on the positive side of things. We have to focus only on the positive side of things. And the other important thing in philosophy is to bring change and positive effect. So this is the last short line. So and the other important thing in philosophy is to bring change and positive effect in through influencing others with positive things. So philosophy is very weak at that. We are not good at influencing. Yeah, so the thing is, even if we have a very good product, but if nobody knows it, then it's useless. Now we also have to know how to market our good ideologies, how to advertise it to become popular and mainstream, how to bring awareness. Because through history, the only people who bring change in the world, whether bad or good, whether expert or non-expert, deep or shallow, whether it may be anything, it is only the one who has the capacity to influence the mass. Like Hitler, he's a bad man, but he's influencing, he's changing the world. So Gandhi, he's a good man, so he's changing the world. But we have to have that influence. That's the main thing. Without that influence, you will be nothing. You can influence bad or good with that influence only if you have the quality. So Gandhi or Nelson Mandela, non-expert, Modi or evil Hitler, they all have this quality. Without that, we can't bring any change in society, no matter how much knowledge, wisdom, or talent you go. You'll just be invisible and useless. At the end, everything we do here is to bring change and make this world a habitable place, a better place for everyone. So finish. How much? How much I got? I think this time I did it 45. 35 minutes. I'm improving. Last time I did 45 minutes. Okay. So that's okay. I have to practice a lot. Okay, and then the reference is same. Schopenhauer, the world as will and representation. Volume 1 is from 1966, 1969 edition. There's a difference here. And then volume 2 is from 1966. That's it. Okay, thank you all.